So, hello everyone, and thanks for joining us today. It's Valentine's Day, so happy Valentine's Day. We're glad that you are going to be joining us for a quick 30-minute webinar on Wowzers. My name is Lynn Walker. I'm the VP of Sales and Marketing, and I'm joined today with my colleagues, Michelle Hall and Soraya Wilkes. They're both account executives for Wowzers out of the Northeast and South Central regions of the US, and I greatly appreciate their help with the webinar today. We have a bunch of people from around the country. We're excited to have you all here, and I hope you're enjoying a beautiful day. I am here in Minnesota where it's cold and snowy, but the sun is out, so all is well in my world. Again, thanks for taking time. We're very conscientious of your time as educators and what you do every day, so we'll try to keep this as close to 30 minutes as possible, and we'll kind of give you an outline. So as you can see on the screen, I've included a small, very brief outline, so we'll follow that for the next 30 minutes, as well as some great comments from Joe Perez's fifth grade class from Santa Fe, New Mexico. And these comments really get to the essence of what our kids think about math. And I'm hoping that I can talk on behalf of everyone here on the webinar, as well as our entire team at Wowzers, that our goal is to really break down the barriers that math is hard. And I think we all have stories that we could share with each other about how hard math is for some and how easy it is for others. But it's really important for all students and how it applies to everyday life. And then, although things like math are sometimes hard at first, are actually not only fun, but can be really empowering in the end. So before I give and turn it over to Michelle, I want to really define Wowzers very briefly for those of you who are really not that familiar with it. So Wowzers is an online digital math program. It focuses on personalizing the math experience for each student, and it offers a comprehensive curriculum. And when I say comprehensive, doesn't mean complex, just it's a comprehensive curriculum. It's easily adaptable, and it relates learning foundational math skills to real world applications. And that's what really engages students. So Michelle will provide a quick overview of the Wowzers program, and we also have some great videos on our website at www.wowzers.com, and that will provide you all a further insight into the program. One quick note that I wanted to share with everybody is that we're really excited about our new partnership with NWEA. And Wowzers is the only math program that automatically aligns a personalized math path for each student based on their NWEA MAP RIT score. And although we don't have time to go into details with that, Michelle will quickly walk through that in a second. So before I give away all of the Wowzer overview, I'm going to turn it over to Michelle, who will provide the quick demo. I do want to remember, if you have any questions, please add them to either the chat or the Q&A section on your screen. Soraya will be monitoring that, so please do keep her busy with answering all your great questions. And I'm a very big quote person, so Carl Sagan said it best in one of his books that says that there are naive questions, tedious questions, ill-phrased questions, questions put after inadequate self-criticism, but every question is a cry to understand the world. And this world, it's math world, so there's no such thing as a dumb question. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Michelle, and she's going to start our demo today. And again, with that, take it away, Michelle.
Okay, thank you everyone for joining. As you can see right now, we are going to start on our teacher dashboard. We're going to walk you through that, as well as some great reports that we have, our curriculum, and show you a little bit about how Wowzers looks as far as the students' outlook as well. So right now we are on the teacher dashboard, the main screen. Once we get access to your student list, we will do a complete upload for you. So we'll put them into grade levels, classrooms, different groups, however you'd like them organized. Then we'll input a full year of that grade level curriculum that you've told us those students are at. Now, that's not to say that everyone needs to stay at that grade level. You have the ability to group your students out and give them other grade levels. So if you know perhaps that these sixth graders, you might have 3 that are on a 5th grade level, you can group them out and give them that content that you need. Also on this dashboard, you'll find that each student will create their own avatar character. That's where our reward system is built in. So as they go along through the Wowzers world, they will actually gain coins along the way by answering correct math questions, because we do want to make it fun for them as well. Now I'm just going to go into our first student right here and learn a little bit more about them. Oops, it logged me out. I'm going to go right back in. So we see AJ here in the 6th grade. Now you can run different reports for AJ. You can also assign content for AJ. So if we find that maybe he's struggling in a certain area in class, we can assign a full section, a single day, or a single activity of whatever grade level we need for AJ to really complete what he's working on. You'll also notice while we're within AJ, we do have that NWA feature right here that can generate a path for each individual student. So we do have our full Wowzers curriculum that we'll go over in the Path tab here, but there is that option to do the NWA path. So you can actually do that, and what it'll look like once we do configure that is a full learning path for that student based on their RIT scores. So instead of our full grade level curriculum, it will create it for you no matter what grade level is needed. You'll also notice he has some 2nd grade content. He may be struggling in that area, and we'll give him that content in order to get up to his grade level. Now I'm just going to go back into the dashboard here, and we're going to learn a little bit about the day-to-day of Wowzers. So this right here is going to be the individual score for that week of 6th grade, week 1 of Wowzers, but we can drill into that, and it'll break it down to each day. We have a little mini quiz each day, and then lastly, it'll break it down to each individual day. And you'll notice that each individual day, from tryout through quiz, is going to take roughly about 40 minutes or so. Now, Wowzers being an adaptive program is going to be different for each individual student. So not everyone will start and finish at the same time, and they'll be able to go on to their next activity if needed, or spend a little extra time in maybe a remediation or some extra practice. And we'll go over individually what each of these are when we look at the curriculum here. Next, we're going to go into the Path tab and show you what that looks like. So if we were looking at 6th graders and we put all of our 6th graders in, this is what we would give you. A full rundown based on your state standards of what each section should be for that student to complete a full year of curriculum. Now, if you were to come in here and assign Wowzers every single day, not to say you have to, because it is supplemental, you can break it down and you would have enough content to give them every single day. Now, in order to make this go along with your own scope and sequence, rather than what we're giving you in the state standards say, you can edit this. So the nice features that you can do is you can drag and drop. So let's say we're working on this later. We can do that. We can turn off whole sections if needed. And we can also add new sections. So you can come in here and grab whatever other grade level you need, find whatever content you need, and drag and drop that over too. Because we really want to make sure that we are personalized learning, not only for each classroom, each group, but each individual student as well. And then we also did want to check out the reports here. So what we're going to do is go to the Reports tab, and we have all of these great reports for you. Now, you did notice when we went into a single student that you can pull the reports for single students. But here you can also print summative reports, standards reports, usage reports. Everything is in here that you would like to pull for your individual students, classroom, and even school. If you need any help with these, we can definitely pull these for you as well. My favorite report here that I'm going to do an overview on is the standards report. And this is a nice quick go-to for us as educators. We can come in here, find the exact standards that we need. I'm just going to go into Common Core for a basic. Now you can notice that we do have every single state standard. So we will be able to definitely accommodate your individual state and load that here. Now once this is loaded, this will be your default. But definitely check on this when you do log in to make sure that your default is correct and you have your correct state standards, because we definitely want you to be looking at all the right standards here. Now, you'll notice that all of these icons, this will be if a student has mastered the standard, doing well, needing some help, and then also not doing so well. So you'll be able to come in here and click on each individual link here. So if we want to find these 2 students that need to revisit this standard, we can click on that too, find those 2 students, notice how low they scored. Now, if you deem these low enough, they're under 70, so I'm going to say they're low enough to have them revisit. I'm going to select those 2 students, and then it will automatically ask me if I would like to move them directly back into that learning or select that activity and put it back into their learning path. Now, what this will do once you activate it is it will put it back in their learning path. They'll finish their current content, then run back through this. The nice thing about Wowzers is they'll be seeing different questions, though, the second time around. So it won't be the same questions because we still want to keep motivating them with newer adaptive questions rather than the same thing over and over, and they're memorizing the answers. So that is the reports. And then also on our reports section, you can go to our home page, which is the W right here. We try to make it not too complicated with jumping around so much, but we have the W, our classrooms, and then I'll show you curriculum. So once we go into the W, sorry, it isn't loading. Give me 1 second. Let me just go back in. I put in the wrong password, so bear with me. Just take a couple of seconds to load. Sorry about that. Okay, so we're on our main page here, and this is going to be again with that W right here. So we have a full report that you can run based on their usage, and this is a quick grab. Probably one of my favorites because you can run that full report as well as get alerts. So if we have a student who's at the end of their lesson plan, maybe they need more content, you can get an alert right here that will prompt you to that and then do an automatic fix rather than having to spend so much time digging for all this information. And then this report right here, you can run and it'll show you exactly how much they are using. So you can check in on your classes, your students, and see who's using and find out why they're not, if they aren't. Okay, and then lastly, we're gonna go back here under teacher name and curriculum. And this is, we're gonna break down a day-to-day here. Okay, so I'm gonna choose grade 5. And we are gonna go down. I'm gonna keep it Common Core again, but again, you can change that. And we're gonna go down a little ways here. As you can see, all the different sections. And we're gonna stop at polygons here. Now, one thing to note too, Wowzers does not only give you the content online, but we're also gonna give you each week's supplemental materials. So different things like homework sheets, blended learning games, higher order thinking, writing and math, always great for those extended response questions. I'm just going to pull up one of these right now. So just a basic homework sheet you can use here. You can print off or you can reconfigure with Google Classroom, and you can use those sheets at any time, and that's always going to be available each week. Now I'm going to go into day 1 of polygons. Now in day 1, we're going to have the tryout through quiz. So what I'm going to do is go over each step here. So the tryout is just going to be checking their prior knowledge. It's going to be 5 questions at most, not necessarily a pre-assessment. We're just identifying if they really know this content and if we need to move them along or get extra help. Now, if they get a question right, they'll get something harder. If they get a question wrong, we're going to scoot them straight into that lesson and get to work on what we need to work on. If they do ace that tryout, getting harder each time, we will skip them over the lesson and move them directly into the practice. The lesson is going to be interactive. They're going to be in that game-like style with their avatar character, learning that lesson for the day. Then they'll move on to the practice, more adaptive features here. Now, if they get a question incorrect, they'll get a little nudge to get it correct. Still, if they get a 70% or lower, we'll send them directly to remediation. We really want to know if they're understanding the content or not. If not, they'll move on to that game, the fun portion. The remediation is going to be in a different style this time. Instead of that game-like lesson, we are going to be on a whiteboard with a live teacher's voice guiding them through that lesson, just in a different manner this time. And then they'll go back through their practice questions and then move on. Now the game is going to be a fun activity here. I'm just going to play a little bit of the game so you get an idea of how Wowzers looks and what they'll be working on, because this is a fun portion for them. And it'll be about 5 to 7 minutes here because we do limit the game time and the quest time, just because we don't want them gaming the whole time. We want Wowzers to be fun, but we don't want them to just stick to that portion. Okay, now I'm just going to go straight into starting the game here. We do have a tutorial if needed, but I'm just going to go straight into it. And it is all text to speech. So each portion here, so now I am selecting a hexagram. So I'm going to select the hexagram here. And now I am going to now do the fun portion here. So let's see if I can get the ball. And we're going to do one more and then we'll move on here. So a rectangle. And right in. Okay, so that's just a game on a 5th grade level here for polygons. And then next we move into a quest. I really like the quest portion of our program because it's going to integrate some real life content for them. Each time in a quest, they're going to be introduced to a new occupation. Here, they're going to help Crimp the baker find the cookie cutters. Now, obviously, cookie cutters are different shapes and sizes, so that baker is going to use our polygons in order to find those cookie cutters. And we're going to help them out by that. So each day they'll be introduced to, it might be a meteorologist or a carpenter, every different type of profile you can imagine. And they'll learn about how they use math in the real world. And then lastly is going to be the quiz. The quiz is going to be aligned to our next generation style of learning. So similar to what you might see on a PARC test or an SBAC test, we have drag and drop, true and false, multi-tiered, and extended response questions. So all of those will be available each day. And then also at the end of each week, they'll have that assessment too. And then also just another thing, just to notice, we do have all of the standards available here each day, as well as, once I scroll back up, sorry if I'm making anyone dizzy here by scrolling, we do have the downloadable printable version for each grade level too. So if you ever need that, we're gonna have every standard that we're using throughout Wowzers, which is a great piece for our teachers who need to put that into their lesson plan. So that is an overall of Wowzers. I'm just going to go back into the grade level here, just so you can kind of see from the beginning where we started. And we were on the dashboard. We went through the path and reports. We went to the home base here on the W to see those reports. And then we also checked out the curriculum on the back end. So not too many places to go around. Hopefully that is a good overview of the program for you. And then I'm going to conclude. And if you have any questions, we're going to hand it on over to Lynn.
Perfect. Thanks so much, Michelle. I'm going to, a couple important notes, and we'll share the information, but all of the attendees, registration folks will receive and are eligible for a special offer, a 1-year subscription at 50% off for their building. So that's exciting to announce. But based on, again, that 30-minute time frame, I'm gonna turn it over to Sri, see if there's any questions. If there isn't, we can continue, but we'll stay on for a couple minutes longer. One of the things that I have learned very quickly is the engagement for students, of course, is critical in any digital program, whether it's math or science or reading. It's really to engage students. So one of the things that I'm going to ask Michelle if you could turn back to the slide with the students' content and their comments around Wowzers. The things that they're saying is, they're wanting feedback. And one of the things that we've heard from customers is that that's one of the elements that they like, is that they don't get frustrated and just turn it off. They do get those nudges, as Michelle explained, within their daily usage of Wowzers, and it keeps them engaged. So if we can, like I said before, breaking down the barriers and making it hard and not instantaneous in their world, they kids these days are so needing that instant feedback, or they'll just tune it out and move on. So that's really important. The other parts that I like, and everybody has a student story about, the kid that didn't know his math facts, and the items that we are talking about in the drills and kills that really are not teaching, it's just memorization. And as we all know, we get older and our memory doesn't serve us properly. I still know my multiplication facts, but I struggle at word problems. But those are the things that these kids are sharing, that they're understanding. And one of my favorites is Wowzers stays with me until I understand it. And that really tells a lot about what we are doing at Wowzers, engaging in content, in games and quests, the things that they're getting and quite frankly, I'm very open. I'm new to the Wowzer team. I'm thrilled to be here. And I spent the last 2 or 3 weeks on the phone talking to customers, and it's the engagement factor that the teachers are sharing that are second to none, which is great. And the other part of it is, they're personalizing this program to meet the needs of what they need their math supplement to be. And it's not just aligning to the standards, but we also align to textbooks. So that's something that we can also forward additional information to everyone here on this webinar, that we do align to those books. And so it's a great supplement to have the text, to have the teacher's knowledge and expertise, and have this as something that kids are excited to get on and learn more and spend some time in their, not only in school, but they can also access it at home, and something that they can further their studies and learning 24/7, which is great. Um, as far as questions, Soraya, do we have any that are coming in? I don't see any. So one of the frequently asked questions that we get is it in Spanish? We are not in Spanish as of today, but we are implementing Spanish moving forward. So that's something that I'll just address frequently asked questions that we get most of the time. The other parts of the program are how can we get professional development. One of the key pieces of what I think the power behind Wowzers, it can be as comprehensive as you'd like, but you can start small, which is great. The offerings and the features of Wowzers can really be something that it could be your curriculum if you so choose, which is great, but it also can be that time for before and after school. We're creating a summer program and we'll be announcing that soon, but all of those the flexibility of Wowzers is really important. So the professional development, we offer a certification course. And what that means is it takes approximately an hour to go through. It's on demand so that you can take it whenever you want. And it's broken up into modules of, say, 5 to 7 minutes of each area of importance, from curriculum to realigning or adding a new student. Michelle did share that we will do that for you, but we all know that there's a very transient population among schools across the country. And of course, there are people that move in and out of districts every day, so it's easy to add a student. In addition to that, with the certification course, it allows you that opportunity to get new teachers up and running in a very small window of opportunity. The other piece of it, we always will offer on-site training if your building and or district needs and would like us to come out. So that's always an option. And again, it's the power of the flexibility of Wowzers, both as a teacher tool, if you will, to create that environment of excitement around math. And that's really the number one piece. One of the questions I actually saw that popped up, and I'll just address this. Thanks, Tina, for asking the question. Does the program work on Chromebooks? Absolutely, it does. Great question. And I think those are the key pieces I mentioned about professional development. We have an award-winning, if you will, support team. One of the things that I get common questions and that teachers have actually reminded me, I always ask if we're responsive, and our support team has gotten glowing reviews. It's an online chat and or email, so the systems are in place to help support you when you have questions, so which is nice. I think we have another question that is on the board here. How long does it take to get student data uploaded so that we can get students started? Michelle, do you want to take that?
Sure, we try to get it back to you within 48 hours, just kind of depending on the amount of data that we're putting in our system. But we try to get it back to you within 48 hours. If you need it sooner, just let us know and we'll make the accommodation.
Perfect. Great. we are rounding out to our 30-minute allotment of time. We will stay on here for additional questions if you should have any. We do encourage the webinar has been recorded, so once you receive an email tomorrow where the link of the recording is, if you have other friends and colleagues that might be interested, we sure would appreciate that referral. We know that, and we have lots of customers that would be more than happy to talk with you and answer other questions that you might have teacher to teacher, which is great. And I would encourage you to visit our website at www.wowzers.com to talk about or to view videos and other resources that are more of interest. The other quick part of, we briefly touched on it, and it's at the NWA link. That is just an opportunity that has saved a number of teachers. We've just implemented it within the last 6 months. And I mentioned Joe Perez. He has said that it's saved so much time so that they can really personalize his 5th grade class into what those kids really need to know. And they're at all skill levels when it comes to math, which we are all very familiar with. And that's why the power of the personalization, and that's what technology has provided us the opportunity to really drill down to what kids are needing and meeting their needs, where they are, meeting them where they are and meeting their needs as students. And so one of the things that we are working on is a webinar that will outline in more detail about the NWEA alignment. So if any of you have NWEA in your school and or district, this might be something that another feature that Wowzers brings to the table, not only just curriculum, but it will help align those kids to what they need to know and the grade levels that they need to know it. So anyway, I think we're going to wrap up our last, like I said, here's our contact information. We would absolutely encourage you to visit our website, contact us if you want to schedule a meeting and or demo at sales@wowzers.com. And with that, I wish all of you a very happy Thanksgiving, for heaven's sakes, happy Valentine's Day, and have a great afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us. Bye now.